and thank you for joining us for this webinar. We're delighted that you have chosen to set aside some time from your busy schedules to learn about the training and certification programs available from the International Code Council, or ICC. My name is Judy Zakreski, and I'm the Vice President of Global Services for the International Code Council. The ICC is a non-governmental organization that develops model building codes and standards through an open consensus process. These codes and standards serve as a model for adoption by local and national governments. In addition, ICC offers a suite of building safety solutions that include product evaluation, accreditation, technology, training, and certification. The model codes, standards, and solutions are used to ensure safe, affordable, and sustainable communities and buildings worldwide. I'd like to go through a few housekeeping details before turning this over to my colleagues. This webinar will be recorded and a replay will be made available within a few days. We will email the link to all attendees and will also be publicly available from our Global Media Center. All attendees are muted with cameras off. We will have time following the presentations for questions and answers. If you have any questions during the presentations, you can enter them into the Q&A box at any time. We will get to as many questions as possible, and we will follow up separately by email with anyone whose question is not answered during the Q&A period. And finally, we'll be circulating a brief survey following the webinar and ask that you please share with us your thoughts in response to that survey so that we can plan our future activities in the region to meet your needs. With that, I'd like to turn this over to Mohamed Almer, the Regional Director of Operations for ICC MENA, based in our Dubai office. Almer?
Thank you very much, Judy. Thank you everyone once again for joining us today, and I will go briefly we'll go through the essence of today's webinar before I turn it to our team of experts to walk you through the details of ICC's training solutions. At ICC, with the growing demands on benchmarking professional skills, we strive to provide the right tools and resources to our stakeholders to get them well equipped in such a crucial market like the construction industry. We provide basically a framework for local authorities and our stakeholders to amend, adopt, and implement training and education as required and as applicable. The construction industry, contrary to the popular belief, is evolving on all aspects from construction design, software modeling, new ways of construction or new methods of construction like the 3D printing, modern construction, and issues related to efficient technology and sustainability on social, economic, and environmental aspects. Where testing and product certification are evolving exponentially for building materials in specific, training must go hand in hand to upscale the competency level and to equip the manpower with the up-to-date credentials in order to perform their job in an efficient and effective way. ICC's mission includes raising awareness and educating those stakeholders in the construction industry on those issues. Training shall always be seen as the dial you turn to go above and beyond. Our rich portfolio of training and personal certification is globally recognized and from a local perspective is valuable for our stakeholders, working closely with the authorities for instance, the Abu Dhabi National Building Code, the Saudi Building Code, which ICC has worked earlier and is still working with the respective authorities to roll out the necessary training and professional certification specific to the Saudi Building Code. Of course, in the wake of the COVID-19, much of those have been converted to online or virtual events to basically cater for our clients' needs. And ICC is also working with GSO for developing training modules related to the upcoming Gulf Building Code, which will be discussed once ready to be rolled out. In addition to that, where the International Building Code is not particularly mandated, we always act as a trusted source of reference for the ad hoc or innovative projects that do not necessarily reference the specific standards in the respective code books, but have or require to prove compliance. This gives an added value to our clients being trained on such topics. We've included some of one of our clients' testimonial or feedback on our valuable trainings, and we've been in great touch with our stakeholders or the engagement levers. What we can say is stay tuned for more to come as we unfold the local for local solutions. I would like now to introduce our team of experts who are going to take a deep dive and walk you through what ICC has to offer from our pillars, the Learning Center and the Assessment Center, respectively. Allow me please to introduce Dr. Tracy Lindy, Vice President of Training and Education, who has wealth of knowledge in overseeing the development, implementation, delivery, and evaluation of ICC's training programs. And as well, Autumn Saylor, the Director for the Assessment Center, who oversees the test development and administration of the ICC's examinations to ensure valid and reliable examinations are set according to nationally recognized testing standards. With that, I would like to pass it on to Tracy and Autumn, respectively. Tracy, over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining us today. We appreciate your time. I'm here to talk a little bit about the ICC Learning Center, and I'm going to start with our mission. Our mission is to empower you, to empower our learners in the building industry by developing and designing and delivering to you the best training possible, the training that will ensure our mission in the global built environment. Now, our sessions, we realize that they come in multiple ways. We have web session, we have self-paced, and we have a physical classroom, which of course Almer said that we're not really doing much of the physical classroom, but we have converted those to virtual. Now let's talk a little bit about that web session. What web sessions are normally come in a series. They happen at the same time, same day every week. They last about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's a live instructor. So it certainly is a certain date and time of the week. These are smaller chunks. So if you're just getting into the building industry, you may want to start smaller. The self-paced standalone, these are courses where you're clicking next to continue. So there is no live instructor. In our virtual classroom, let's go ahead and talk just a little bit more about the virtual classroom. The virtual classroom, you can go ahead and change the slide on this one, but our virtual classroom does allow you to join in a more interactive way. So not only can you see and hear the instructor, but the instructor can see and hear you. So as long as you have a video camera, the instructor can see you. You don't have to have a video camera, but it does help with engagement. Now, with our virtual training, these are a little longer. These are normally a single day, about 6 hours, or multiple day sessions. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about our career paths. So let's say you don't know where to start. You want to become a building official. You want to learn a little more about building codes. What we've done is we've created these career maps. Now, as you can see right at the beginning, we have the webinar series, and we go all the way out to the certification and becoming certified. So what I recommend is if you're new, that you start right at the beginning at those web sessions. If you're a little bit more versed or you have more experience with the building codes, maybe starting in the middle and then moving towards the end. Now, let's talk a little bit about the difference between what you may see here. We have that Residential Inspection Institute. So let's talk about what an institute is. An institute is more of a how-to, a hands-on how to apply the code. So it's going to answer questions like, navigating the code, how to apply a certain requirement, the actual kind of tactical methods used in the class. So it's more of that how-to. When we get to a test academy, like we see up here in the green, it's that B1 Residential Building Inspector Certification Exam, and then beneath that is the Test Academy in blue. A test academy runs more like an ACT, like a standardized test prep, ACT, SAT, GMAT type of test prep courses. So it's not a how-to. It's not going to help you learn how to navigate the code, how to apply the code. It's more of a question drill, a question prep, test prep to help you get ready for that exam. So what I would recommend is if you're new to the code, this probably isn't the class for you. You probably want to start somewhere back in the beginning with the webinar series or one of the single day courses. The Test Academy also comes with a voucher. The vouchers allow you to take that exam within a year of enrollment in the course. The one thing I would like to make sure you know about the test academies, the information we get is the same information you get. It's from the exam outlines, which my colleague Autumn will discuss a little later. The data is taken from the exam outlines to prepare the test academy. With any certification, it is very important that you put in the work. Taking a test academy isn't going to guarantee you're going to pass that test, because you have to put in the work. You have to study for that exam. You have to make sure you personally are prepared to take that exam. Now, as I stated, those that are seasoned in the building codes, they may be able to jump right to this step. If you're not seasoned, I would recommend you start back in the beginning. Also, please keep in mind that the ICC codes are updated every 3 years. So be certain that you're studying the code year that is applicable to you. We can go ahead and move on. Now, here are some of our current career paths that we have available, and I've noted the URL right here on the screen. So if you're looking to take the B1, which is the residential, we have a career path for that. Commercial, Fire Inspector 1, our Building Plans Examiner, Permit Tech, Property Maintenance and Housing, Residential Mechanical, and Residential Plumbing. Now in Q3, we're expecting to have the Fire Inspector 2, and we're going to move into the commercial on the mechanical and the plumbing. Now next, I want to get into a little bit about navigating the Learning Center. The URL for the Learning Center is noted here. Now, one of the first things that we want to do is we're going to want to sign in, and that's the link in the upper right-hand corner. And what you will see is our single sign-on. Now, the great thing about this single sign-on is once you have a username and password with the ICC, if you're at any of our sites, you'll be able to easily navigate without having to sign back in. If you don't have a username and password with the ICC, you're going to have to register, and that link is in the lower right. Once you register, a screen will display, and it's going to ask some basic information. Once you submit, you will be sent an email to validate that you have indeed signed up and registered with the ICC. You will have to validate that registration in order to gain access. Now, one thing that I want to make mention of here, getting a registering or getting a username and password, that's free. You don't have to be a dues paying member in order to take advantage of the training, in order to take a certification and exam, in order to get a publication. You don't have to be a dues paying member of the ICC to enjoy any of those. But I will say that the dues paying members will receive additional financial benefits. They'll get certain discounts on training, on publications, but you don't have to be. Registration with the ICC is free. Now here we have once you're logged in. Now, as you can see across the top, I've got a few additional links that I can use. One specifically that we want to keep in mind we have is we have the My Training, the class calendar. Now, the one thing that I want to talk a little bit about is the My Training. Now you see that has a little bit of an arrow. There are actually 3 options under there. There's My Courses, My Transcript, and My Schedule. Your My Courses are going to be your current courses. These are the things that you're currently enrolled in, or for the online self-paced that you haven't started yet. The My Transcript, this is going to bring you to the online self-paced courses that you've already started, or live courses or self-paced that you've completed, and you'll be able to download your certificate of completion from there. The My Schedule, these are courses that you have enrolled in, and that it's a calendar view, and you'll be able to click to actually gain access to your course there. Now, one thing I do want to go over is some of the conventions that we have in the Learning Center. Online, that blue icon, the online icon means that it's self-paced standalone, that there is no live instructor. The virtual, this is one of those longer live courses that you'll be able to see the instructor. It's usually a 6-hour or multi-day. The webinar, again, that's a live, but those are those 1.5 to 2 hour courses that come in a series. Usually the series is between maybe 5 to 7, and they meet every week at the same time on the same day. Let's take a look at the class calendar. When you click the class calendar, you'll see a screen like this. Now, from the arrows up at the top, you can either move forward into a different month or the view February, move back. You can also jump through the months at the bottom of the screen by using the drop down arrow. See, it says jump to month. You can always jump to a specific month. Now here you'll be able to see the name of the course, how it's offered. Is it a virtual? Is it a web session? And then when we do get back into the physical classroom, that will display here as well. You'll see a time zone noted, the time it starts, and then how long the class goes. If you click on any of these, you can go ahead and go to the next slide on this one. If you click on any, it will bring you to the description of the course. Now, as you can see here, this is a virtual course. We have a bit about the course. And then we have the locations and the dates. So we can see this one takes place on April 29th, and it is again offered on November 1st. We have some details about the course, such as how many CEUs are offered, a price point. We also have the objectives. Now you see I've got pointed to down in the lower left, a show less. That's actually a toggle, a show more, show less. So if you want to scroll that up and not see as much, you can hit that, show less. The show less will turn to a show more. So you can toggle between. If you want to enroll in the class, you would click select this course and then follow the on-screen prompts to the shopping cart to let you enroll. Just to bring a note, while a lot of our training is based on our model codes, we do have some SBC specific content. At this time, this content is offered in self-paced standalone format. It is not at this time offered in a live environment. So we have the Saudi building codes, the 201 essentials, and the Saudi fire codes, the 801. Those are fairly long courses. I think we're talking about 30 hours for the building codes and 18 hours for the fire codes. The next, the egress and design, the occupancy classification, and the fire protection systems, those are a bit shorter, between the 2 and 4 hour marks. So while we do have some Saudi building code, we have a majority of our content is indeed that model code. Now we do also offer customized training. So let's say that you're looking through our catalog and you see a course that you would like to offer within your organization, but let's say it's only offered as a virtual and you would like it as a self-paced standalone, or you would like to integrate certain aspects within your local region. We can always take that course and customize it for you and offer you a proposal to customize whatever you need within the time frame you need. But we do offer those customized learning solutions. There's another program that we have just started, and this is called the Credential of Learning Achievement, or the CLA. The CLA is like a specialty. So let's say you already have a designation with the ICC. Let's say you've already passed your residential inspector exam or something of the like. These normally do require some sort of prerequisite. The specialty that you can add on to it is a disaster response, fire stopping, or swimming pools and spas. Now, as the title of this program alludes, Credential of Learning Achievement, there is a learning aspect to this program, meaning that you have to take the required training and then pass a test, an exam, in order to earn that CLA. So it's the training and an exam based on that training. Now at the bottom, there's more detailed information about the CLA program. It is offered through the MyICC. And with that, I would like to pass it along to my esteemed colleague that I have the honor of working with on a daily basis, Ms. Autumn Saylor, who heads up our assessment center, which is the certification portion of the ICC. Autumn, it's all yours.
Good afternoon. I'm Autumn Saylor, the director of the Assessment Center within ICC. Like the Learning Center, we also have a mission statement, which is empowering people worldwide by assessing their commitment to public safety. And we achieve this through our expanding catalog of examinations, which is currently at over 400, and some of which are listed here. There are many ways to get to the Assessment Center pages. The easiest way, if you're already on our website, is to select the down arrow beside Professional Development and then click on Assessment. Once you click on Assessment, it will take you to the Assessment Center main page. This page will be your starting point for all steps in the process. I recommend bookmarking this page as you will come back to it often during your certification journey. I have highlighted two of the pages that will be most important for you as you're starting out. If you click directly on the image, such as before the exam or exam day, it will take you to that page that contains all of the information listed in the bullet points to the right. Or if you know what you're looking for, you can access it directly from the links within the bullet points. All links on the Assessment Center pages are in the same light green color. It is very important that you read and understand the information found on the exam day page prior to registering and taking an ICC examination. And once you've completed your journey or your examination, you will then find information related to credentials, renewals, and various other requests on the after the exam page. Notice at the bottom of this slide, you see the word Pronto. If you click on that, there is a link that will take you to our Pronto information page, which we're headed to next. In August of 2017, and based on a need for candidates around the world to become ICC certified, the International Code Council launched our Pronto program. Pronto, which stands for Proctored Remote Online Testing Option, is our remote proctored testing method, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. While there are system requirements such as a webcam, microphone, and internet browsers, candidates can take the examination from a secure location from anywhere in the world. Clicking on the Pronto link on the main Assessment Center webpage will take you to our main Pronto page. On this page, you will find information about Pronto and links that will take you to a free course titled Pronto 101. There is also one specifically for a candidate who will be taking a special inspector plan-based examination module that provides a candidate with hands-on experience for navigating the online plan set. There are also links to a walkthrough, videos, a system check to ensure your computer is compatible, as well as Pronto examination administration information. Once you've read through the information on the before the exam and exam day pages, became familiar with Pronto, you are now ready to search for an examination. To do this, you're going to access the exam catalog. Of course, we have many ways to access it. You can look for the blue button located on various Assessment Center web pages. You can also look for the shopping cart logo, or simply go there directly by typing in www.iccsafe.org/exams into your browser. On the next few slides, I'm going to show you images of what our current exam catalog look like. We are in the process of making changes that will make using the catalog easier by simplifying the options and changing the layout. So when you're ready to access the exam catalog, it may look different. However, the information will all still be there. When you're ready to search for an exam, you will click on the type first. We will be removing national certification, state certification, and international, and instead group them all under certification. If it is an examination specific to a region or jurisdiction, that will be identified separately. The main reason for this is because while a lot of our examinations are part of the national certification program, they are based on the model codes and are taken internationally. Now, depending on which option you choose, various other search boxes will appear, such as for contractor, a list of states in the United States that have a specific program within ICC will appear. Once you've put in all of your search criteria, you will click on search. And for this, I chose National Certification and Residential Inspector. As you can see, 4 examination options are listed. Now, clicking on the plus sign or exam name will expand to provide the examination specific information. This is where you would find out which code years and examination methods are available. It also lists the number of questions on the examination, the length of the exam, as well as whether or not it is open book. ICC does offer examinations that are closed book, so it is important to review this. In addition, you will select the code year. The list of the approved references will update in the Info tab, as identified here. After you review the examination information, you will click on Outline. This will bring up the examination content outline. This outline is what will tell you what job tasks we will be testing you on, and as such, it is a very important tool to use when studying for an ICC exam. The examination will only contain questions that can be directly tied back to one of the tasks listed in the content outline. Now, notice the printer icon at the top right corner of the page. This will create a PDF of all of the information contained on both the Info and Content tabs for the code year selected. Please print this or save it and refer to it while preparing for an exam. I recommend candidates take this content outline, locate the information in the various reference materials, and use highlighting or permanent tabs for use during the exam. Additional resources to help you increase your code knowledge prior to taking an examination, such as study guides and flashcards, are available in the ICC store. And once you're ready to purchase the examination, you will click on the Register button, which will take you to the ICC store to purchase. Here you will select the code year and examination method, add it to your cart, and continue through the purchase process. Note that examination purchases are valid for 365 days. And after the exam is purchased, you have reviewed the Pronto exam day administration information. You are ready to take the exam. You will log into your MyICC account by hovering over the lock and clicking on MyICC. You then access the My Exams tab in the Credentials page and then click on Take Exam. You will then follow the prompts to book the exam, connect to the proctor, and then take the exam. And thank you so much for your time today.
It looks like we've had a few questions come in during the presentations, and I would like to encourage our audience, our attendees, to please insert questions if you have them into the Q&A section, and we will address those questions now. There is, I'll go ahead and look at the first question that I see, which is related to the Abu Dhabi International Building Code and what is the difference between that building code and the International Building Code. I'll go ahead and just answer that briefly. The Abu Dhabi International Building Code was based heavily on the 2009 International Building Code. So it is a bit older, and it is it's not as comprehensive as the International Building Code because it only relates to the particular building construction types and methods used in Abu Dhabi. So I think that the information, for instance, about snow loads has been removed, whereas the IBC is comprehensive and meant to address all climate types. When codes are customized, a lot of times the inapplicable sections are removed. The Abu Dhabi International Building Code is also metric first. In the United States, we're still using the imperial system. So while there is a soft metric equivalent for every measurement in the International Building Code, the primary measurements are in imperial inches and feet, and in the Abu Dhabi code, it would be in metric. The second question was related to the fire protection systems, and I believe that question is related to the Saudi building code. The question is, under fire protection systems, do you offer the active systems or passive systems? And I'm going to turn this over to Tracy, who I think has a little bit more information about that.
Yeah, yes, it would. It would cover that. That self-paced training does cover many of the suppression systems, standpipe systems. So it's all about Chapter 9. So that's where the focus is. So it is going to have some coverage on active and passive.
Great. And Tracy, can I ask you also to address another question, which is, do you have any courses regarding Nfpa?
Well, what I would say is, the Nfpa, that's a lot of times we reference each other a lot. So there's going to be references, but if you're looking for a course that's specific to a full Nfpa code, I would definitely look at the Nfpa, and you'll probably find we've referenced each other.
Thanks, Tracy. Autumn, a question for you related to the open book online exams. How are these exams conducted and proctored?
Sure. So they are conducted from your computer. You will log in and you will be connected to a proctor. They're remote proctored. So the proctor is viewing you through your webcam and is listening to you through your microphone. They are recorded. So the proctor is always there in the background watching as you're taking your exam. They're watching you, and then they're also recording what is happening on your desktop at the time that you're taking it.
Thank you, Autumn. Another question, again, about the Abu Dhabi International Building Code. This person has noted that we do have specific training on the Saudi Building Code and is wondering if we do have also specific training on the Abu Dhabi International Building Code. And just to save time, I will answer that and say no. We do not have training on the Abu Dhabi International Building Code. Autumn, another question for you. The person has searched the exam catalog and is finding that most of the exams are for U.S. states and require some sort of pre-approval. I wonder if they need to be directed to a different way to search for the exams, or if that is indeed the case.
Yeah, so I think in the type that you would want to select certification. It sounds to me as if the option selected was contractor, because that is where you will get the actual list of US states. So if you put in type, if you put in certification, whether it's the national certification, it will bring up your category of types, which would be residential building, commercial building, or residential inspector, commercial inspector, plan reviewer.
Thank you, Autumn. That's very clear. Tracy, a question for you. When a building code course is provided, what is included? Does it go through each standard and discuss further? I think it probably depends on the type of course, but I'll let you go ahead and answer that.
You're correct. It does. It does depend on the type of course. I'll talk quickly about maybe model codes. So if you're taking a self-paced standalone course, more than likely there is not anything included with that course. It would be, if it's an online study guide, let's say, it would be incumbent on you to make sure that you have a copy of that code book, because that's what's going to help you prepare for the exam. If perhaps you're taking an essentials course, a residential inspector essentials or an IRC essentials course, then you would probably be receiving a download code for the essentials book. So it truly does depend on what course you're taking as to what's going to come with it and what's in that particular course.
Thank you, Tracy. Another question that I'm going to send over to you. Is there any free training available currently related to fire and life safety?
Well, we do have free courses. I'm gonna take a quick look at our topics here because there are several. You can always look at the free courses by going to the Learning Center and typing free in the search. All the free courses will display. I don't know if we have anything specific right now in terms of free for that topic. I don't see any.
It's good to know that there are free classes though, and people can start there perhaps. Tracy, do you also want to mention the Learn Live program that we have, which is a very economical way to get a lot of training on a number of different topics and earn CEUs?
Sure, I could go ahead and touch on that. Learn Live is this year it's a 4-day event, and it has various tracks, and the price point is, very inexpensive. I think we calculated that it's worth about two CEUs if you go through the whole week. But basically, they're hour-long classes every day. I think we have between 4 to 5 classes every day that you can take that are just on various topics and tracks, and it is at a very, like Judy said, a very economical price point. And I believe that's coming up April. It's in April this year, or this quarter. So you will have those courses. I believe posted this afternoon, the final schedule for that.
And in the follow-up to this webinar, we can include a link to the Learn Live page so that people can learn more about that. A question for Autumn. For open book online exams, can the codes and standards be searched? And is the screen shared while appearing for the exam? And I'm wondering if this question is related to using the electronic copies of the codes and standards versus the hard copy paper book.
Right. As of right now, we do not have digital references attached to our examination. So for right now, when you sit for one of our Pronto exams, you will need a hard copy reference. We are in the process of looking at that and do expect to move to digital references in the near future.
So the hard copy standard or code book must be in hand when taking those courses.
Correct.
And another question for you, Autumn, following up to the exam catalog and the state certifications. This person is saying, looking at the electrical plans examiner, fire plans examiner, courses and exams, they were seeing Florida or other state agencies and not a lot of courses if we select international. That's true. That's being changed. It's only we're only developing international courses when we have participation and partnership with the international the entity, the national organization outside the United States who wants the exams. So right now we have them for the Caribbean. The CARICOM Regional Energy Efficiency Building Code is based on our ICC, and we've worked with CrossQ to develop those trainings and certifications. And so you'll see those. And also we've worked with the Saudi Building Code National Committee and have developed the training for the Saudi codes, but we generally are not going around just randomly developing training and certification for codes unless we have participation from that entity. So going back to the Abu Dhabi code, Abu Dhabi Department of Municipalities and Transport did not engage us to develop training and certification for their codes. We would be happy to do that. that, but we're not going to initiate that without their collaboration. So you won't see that, for instance. Autumn, do you have anything to add there about particularly the electrical plans examiner, fire plans examiner tests? Are they only state specific, or are there national exams also?
So they're national exams also, and this is part of the reason why we're looking at simplifying the catalog. Almer, if you could go back, I think it's slide 25. Just touch on this slide again. So this is the, yeah, where it'll actually, there you go. So for right now, if you're going to be searching for one of our examinations, right now it's going to show up under national certification is where you're going to find the majority of the exams. Again, we're looking at changing that. We're going to be removing national certification, state certification, as well as international, and it's all going to be listed simply as certification. So once we do that, it'll make it a little bit more clear. Right now, if you choose national certification and in category trade, this is where you could put in one of fire as one of the options that would bring up all of our national fire related. And again, we're saying national, but that just simply means it's based on the model code. So those would be the ones that you would be looking for specifically until and unless we have Saudi related examinations that are available.
Thanks, Autumn. The next question we have is, does the IBC provide any references to post-pandemic designs? And I'll go ahead and address that because there is some activity in this area. But our most recent edition of the code is the 2021 series of model codes. And those codes were updated in 2018, or 2019 and 2020, 2018, 2019, and then published in 2020 in advance of the pandemic. So the model codes currently do not specifically relate to the pandemic, although there are a lot of provisions in the codes that relate to health and safety of the occupants of the building, but nothing specific to the pandemic. We do have right now underway, we've just established a pandemic task force, and this task force is developing recommendations about not just the international codes, but all building codes, about how they should be perhaps not necessarily directing change, but offering guidelines and consideration for potential for future change to various building codes. And I say it's not just the international codes, because we have participants from around the world that are using codes other than the international codes. So it's meant to be an international guideline that organizations and entities around the world can use to consider how their building safety regulations might be revised to ensure that they are appropriate for any future pandemic situation. Hopefully that answers that question. There is another question about, do you have any qualification for the courses? Tracy, that question is, I read it exactly like it says. Hopefully you can interpret that and provide a good answer.
I'm wondering if that, it could go two ways. I'm wondering if they're saying, do they have to have prerequisites in order to get into the course? And that answer is no, unless it's a credential of learning achievement. If they're asking, are the courses accredited, then the answer would be yes. We accredit through the AIA. We also, through various, state agencies, and upon request, if we're requested to obtain accreditation in a local jurisdiction, we are accredited by Icc. So our CEUs are transferable. So question could go a couple of different ways. So if the person who posted that question maybe give us a little more specifics, maybe I can hit the mark a little better on that one.
Thanks, Tracy. Autumn, another follow-up question for you, and I think you've hit on this, but I think it's also important to make sure people understand. Suppose soft copies of the codes are available. Can these be used while appearing for the exam? And maybe when answering this, just provide a little bit more background about what the limitations are.
Absolutely. So yes, soft copies, hard copies can be utilized within the examination. What it essentially is the reference material needs to be bound. So printed, bound copies. So whether that's a soft cover, a 3-ring binder, or a hard copy of the examination reference materials can be used. The other thing to note is that while we do allow tabs, they do need to be permanent, which means essentially if you go to try to take them off of your reference page, that the page itself will tear. So when you go to sit for the examination, permanent tabs are allowed.
Thank you, Autumn. Question about, are there future plans to include metric units in the IBC? I'll take this one. There are metric units already in the IBC. Every unit in inches and feet is converted to soft metric. And there have been discussions about doing hard metric, but it's a bit more complicated than just a calculation because it depends on what building materials are available in different regions and how those building materials are themselves measured. So yes, there are plans, but we don't have an exact time frame on when that will be available. The Saudi Building Code has done we believe a hard metric conversion. So that one is a good reference. There's a full suite of building codes in Saudi Arabia developed by the Saudi Building Code National Committee. And I would encourage people who are interested in hard metric to view those codes because they are very, very close to the international model codes, the I codes. The next question, can an international candidate appear for our assessment exams, for instance, in fire plans, electrical plans examiner, without any sort of pre-approval? Autumn?
Absolutely. The examinations that are currently listed under the National Certification tab are available for anybody to sit. There are not any prerequisites prior to sitting for an exam. We do have some exams that have some additional requirements prior to receiving the certification itself, but there are no prerequisites for sitting for one of our exams.
Thank you, Autumn. And thanks everyone for continuing to send the questions. This is great. Next question is, how does ICC certification compare to Nfpa certification? Autumn, I'm not sure if you have intimate familiarity with NFP certification to be able to answer that, but they're looking to see if there are any major differences.
So it does depend on the exam. The only ones that I can really speak to are their Fire Inspector 1 and 2, because their Fire Inspector 1 and 2 exams are Pro Board accredited. And I can tell you that we do follow the same 1031 standard when creating our Fire Inspector 1 and 2 exams. So I can say for those, they do follow that same standard. But I don't have intimate knowledge of their other exams.
Thanks, Autumn. One more question, hopefully the last one about this soft copy question. But I think the term soft copies was referring to not printed and bound copies, but sort of can they use if they have, for instance, a subscription to the ICC Digital Codes Premium, could they use that Digital Codes Premium subscription while to access the codes and the standards while they are taking the exam? Can those electronic or soft copies be used while they're taking the exam, or do they have to actually purchase a PDF or a bound book and use that?
Yes, so it will have to be an actual bound book. At this time, we're not allowing electronic copies. So while you can also have a PDF, it will have to be printed. And for those, you do have to worry about the copyright and how much of a PDF that you can print. But they do have to actually be physical papers in your hands in order to actually use them on the exam.
Thanks, Autumn. And I think it's probably worth noting that this is not sort of a random ICC requirement to get people to buy hard copy books. It's in fact related to the security of the exam and the proctor, because all of the other windows have to be closed so that the proctor can ensure that the test taker is not cheating or going to, you know, other sources, that they're just using the allowed sources. Is that right?
That is correct. And again, we are looking at adding digital references to our examinations. We are currently in discussions with our proctoring agency at the moment of allowing that. But there are some system limitations that we do have to work through. The online proctored exams allow you to use, you know, one monitor, certain browsers that could be used. So there are some system requirements that we're having to work through before we can offer them.
Thanks, Autumn. I hope that's, I found that helpful. I think it's useful to sort of provide the whole reason for the way that the reason that this exists, and hopefully that answers all of the questions about the electronic versus the hard copy books during the certification exams. Question for Tracy: are there any fire safety law courses?
Yes, we do have, legal aspects for code administration for fire inspectors, but keep in mind, this is based on laws within the United States. I believe we have already offered that for this quarter. We do have advanced legal aspects for code administration for building officials and inspectors offered virtually on April 15th and December 5th. And then we have just the basic legal aspects of code administration. We're offering that on October 27th in the virtual classroom. So we have a few options for the law classes, but the one specific to fire inspectors will be scheduled again within probably Q3 or Q4.
And Tracy, I think it's really critical, and thank you for mentioning that the legal aspects, the law courses that we offer are primarily related to the U.S. legal system, which can vary from state to state, but it's definitely based on the U.S. system. So the applicability outside the United States would have to be considered. Another question for Autumn: is the certification an alternate pathway to the PE or chartered professional engineer?
I will have to get back with you on that.
Okay, I'm not sure about that either. If the PE certifications would accept, you know, credits or exams offered by ICC, but we'll follow up with that individual after the webinar. And I think we have time for a few more questions. Another one for you, Autumn: are the CBO and Fire Marshal certifications available for international candidates?
Absolutely. All of the exams that are currently in our exam catalog listed under the national certification are available for international candidates.
Thank you so much, Autumn. And I noticed that my colleague, Steve Jones, who's joining the call, thanks, Steve, mentioned that the next meeting of the pandemic task force is on Wednesday, this Wednesday. It is in the late afternoon US time, so it's in the middle of the night for all of you in the MENA. Apologies for that. But I think that they are recorded, and there is a link on the website, which we will include that as well with the post webinar information. And I think that is most of the questions that have come in. Almer, I'd like to turn it over to you to close us up. We're just about on time.
Thank you very much, Judy, and thank you very much, Tracy and Autumn, for such an informative session. And we really respect and appreciate all the attendees coming forward with these questions. A lot of them are very much related to the MENA region. It shows the outlook about what kind of offerings that our attendees are looking for. So that's great, and thank you very much for that. As Judy mentioned, we will follow up post the webinar with the questions that were not tapped on, and there's a post webinar survey, a quick one. If you could please take a minute or two just to go over it, that would be great. We thank you all for your time today, and we look forward to seeing you soon in our future webinars. With that, we come to the end of our webinar today, and good luck and thank you very much. We'll be signing off shortly. Thank you.